Tim James here, your chemical-free health coach, founder of chemicalfreebody.com. I'm here today with Katie Cantrell. She is the founder and executive director of Factory Farming Awareness Coalition. I'm very excited to have her with me today. And I've got her little manual here. You guys have to check it out. Fight climate change with diet change. So, Katie, how did you get started with this mission? What got you started with it all?
Well, I've always loved animals. I grew up with dogs, and my parents are very compassionate people, taught me to love and care for animals. And when I went to college at UC Berkeley, I joined an animal advocacy group on campus. And it was there that I learned about factory farming. And I was just shocked that the food system was the largest cause of animal suffering in the world, with over 9 billion animals slaughtered every year in the United States alone.
9 billion.
9 billion, over 9
It's
billion.
a lot.
It is a lot. It's more than all the people on the entire planet.
Yeah, guys, think about that. 7 billion people on this planet. We know that's a massive number, and you're saying that more than that is slaughtered every year just to eat.
In the United States alone.
Just in the U.S.?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was shocking to me, and I knew that I wanted to focus on that issue. And then shortly after graduating, I read Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer and was just blown away by the holistic approach that he takes, because at this point, this was back in 2010, you know, if people were talking about factory farming at all, it was just as an animal issue. And no one was talking about the public health, the social justice, the environmental impacts, let alone tying it all together.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that whole package, I realized that, you know, when you talk about all the different angles, it's just so obvious that it's bad in every possible way. And even if people don't care about animals, they do likely still care about the environment or other people, or even just their own personal health or their kids. Yeah. So I looked around for organizations that were taking this more holistic approach and couldn't find any. So I used the information in that book to put together a PowerPoint presentation and started reaching out to people the most direct way I could think of, which was giving talks to, at that point, mostly college classes. But now we have dozens of presentations that we use for schools, community groups, businesses, to talk about all the different impacts of factory farming.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's really good. So maybe what we can do for the viewers is kind of go through some of these points. I mean, I know there's, you know, like from water, deforestation, GMOs and pesticides. Where do you want to start?
Sure. Well,
Let's start with water. Water is a big one for me. And drinking purified water, as you guys know, is like, I think it's our birthright. And what's going on with factory farming animals in our water?
Sure. So, I mean, it's sort of a whole cycle, and you can't, to understand all the pieces, you have to see the whole picture. So the main problem is that we have these 9 billion animals, and they're animals, so they're living, breathing, eating, and pooping. And so those farmed animals are eating mostly GMO corn and soy, which takes a lot of water, and then the animals are drinking water, and then they're pooping a lot, which is polluting the water that's remaining. So, I mean, that's kind of the basic concept to really boil it down. And then
9 billion poops a day.
Well, more than that.
Right. It adds up.
Yes,
Metric tons of E. coli and salmonella. And the factory farming, guys, is it's not like it's out in the pasture and it's nature's recycling and it's stagnant and they're just standing in it and it's gross, and then it ends up in our creeks and our rivers. But keep going. Talk about this cycle.
Yes. So you have, I mean, it's all it's all part of this one big cycle. But talking about water in particular, there's a lot of water required to produce meat and dairy products. So one figure that's always staggering to people is that, you know, we think about ways to save water, we tend to think about our own direct water usage, the things we're always told to do, taking shorter showers, turning off the tap when you brush your teeth, watering your lawn less. But switching from a hamburger to a veggie burger just one single time, you save as much water as if you did not shower for one entire month.
So if you're eating a hamburger, and let's say you're the type of person that wants to conserve water because you feel that's a problem. And if you're eating a hamburger and you go to eating a veggie burger, you're going to save as much water as a person would use to shower in 1 week?
A month.
In a month. In a month.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a pretty big deal.
Yes. Yeah, over 600 gallons of water for just one hamburger. One hamburger.
That's the input, guys, to probably grow the food, to feed the animal, the water that the animal drinks, all inputs it adds up. It adds up. And we've got some water problems. For those of you living in California, you know what I'm talking about down there.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about. Major water issues.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and the same stat is true for milk. So switching from a gallon of cow milk to a gallon of soy milk, you also save as much water as if you didn't shower for a whole month. So in California, almonds get a lot of flack for how much water they take up, but almonds use about 10% of California's water, and California's growing almonds for the whole world.
Right.
Not just for Californians. But the meat and dairy industry uses over 50% of all the water in California.
So could you give a number for, like, if somebody gets off a gallon of, like, dairy's milk and they go to a gallon of almond milk, what's the savings in water?
Yeah, so I can give for a glass. So
a glass.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
A glass of cow milk takes 30 gallons of water to produce, and a glass of almond milk takes 23 gallons of water to produce. A glass of soy milk only takes 9 gallons of water to produce. So almonds do use more water than, say, soy or flax.
Do you have anything else, like flax as an example? Because we, over here at Chemical Free Body, we don't do soy because of the estrogens, and it's really hard to find soy that's not, genetically modified.
Yeah, I bet organic.
In GMO and that kind of stuff. But it's for us, it's the estrogens. We just don't want people to take the soy because of the estrogens, unless the soy was fermented in like a tempeh.
Right.
But we're not talking about that so much. But what about cow's milk, a glass of cow's milk to like flaxseed milk?
You know, unfortunately, I haven't been able to find any stats.
But it's less.
Yeah, it's much less.
It's less.
Yeah, so flax
it's less.
milk,
and nobody's getting slaughtered. There's no babies being ripped away from their mother so that mother can keep lactating. There's nobody injecting these cows with hormones so they can stay in a constant state of lactation. Instead of living 20, 25 years, these cows are dying in 4.5 years because they're in a constant state of lactation. It's just wearing them out. They're creating inflammation in their bodies. It's a bad deal. Okay, so we've talked about the water. We talked a lot about lots and lots of poop, right?
Yeah.
Creating other issues. Or what about GMOs, anything like that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of attention around GMOs, and few people realize that most GMOs are not going to feed people, they're feeding animals on factory farms.
And if you don't know what GMOs are yet today, which I think everybody should know about this, but I know there was a point in time where I didn't. That just stands for genetically modified organisms. So that means they've taken something in nature and tweaked it and turned it into like Frankenstein, and then we're supposed to like eat that. So that's what GMOs are. So can you elaborate on that?
Sure. So I mean, we don't, as an organization, we don't really take a stand on the science of GMOs in and of themselves, but their implementation right now in the United States is very harmful because, again, there's this talking point that they're helping to feed the world, but really they're just feeding animals on factory farms. And most of the GMOs in the United States are GMO corn and soy that have actually been genetically modified to withstand the use of certain types of pesticides and herbicides that are
like Roundup.
Like Roundup, that are conveniently made by the very same companies that make those GMO seeds. So that actually a third of all pesticide use in the United States is for meat production. It's pesticides going onto that corn and soy fed to animals on factory farms. So you have this little known connection between the GMO seeds, the pesticides, and factory farms. It's the cycle where they all support each other.
So by consuming animals, giving money to buy hamburgers, giving money to buy chicken and turkey and these kind of things like I used to eat, pepperoni sticks, whatever, you're basically giving money to these companies that are putting tons of pesticides, herbicides, fungicides onto that food or onto those crops to feed that food, and that all ends up in the ecosystem and it's in your bloodstream. You can always Google umbilical cord and chemical, and you'll see back to 2005 there's over 200 man-made chemicals found in the umbilical cord blood of every child and being born today in those young mothers. So we're all polluted, and it looks like from factory farming it's causing a major amount of chemical pollution, genetically modified pollution. You said it's all tied in. And then the GMOs are birth defects, and tumors. The studies over in France, what they've done, it's just a bad deal, right? So it's just, isn't it just easier to just go out and pick an apple and eat it? You know what I mean? It's just pick it, eat it, and you're done. You don't have to go through this whole crazy cycle.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, just eating lower on the food chain. If you think about it, it's always going to be more efficient and more effective to just grow plant and eat it directly rather than grow plant and then ship it to feed it to an animal and then ship that animal to a slaughterhouse and and for me, I used to hunt and fish a lot, and I used to kill everything, gut my own animals and stuff. So for you out there that grew up on a farm, we had Hereford cattle. Killing things, it's kind of barbaric, but you just do it because it's kind of how you grow up. And now that I've switched over to a plant-based lifestyle, I don't want to kill anything. I'm letting bugs out of my house. I don't want to, I feel bad. I don't like being around death and destruction anymore. And just to think about, like,
9 billion animals dying every single year, and and it's not in these factory farms. It's not a good deal. You guys watch some movies like Food Inc. My wife watched that, and she's like, "I'm done." It makes I used to kill everything, and I have a hard time watching some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Where they pick them up by their feet and their ankles, and they pull them up, and you hear their bones crackling, and they're not dead yet, and they come up and slit their throat.
Yep.
It's pretty hardcore stuff. And most of you out there, if you visited these factory farms one time, you would never touch a stitch of meat again. Now, some of you still might do it, but probably a little crazy because, it's pretty gross. Those places are nasty. The people that are working there have high incidences. They're alcoholics, they're on medications, they're depressed, they got anxiety. It's just a bad deal all around. So if the people working there are all effed up, what do you think the meat is? It's messed up too. So any closing thoughts on this topic?
Well, I think people oftentimes don't want to learn about it or talk about it because it's seen as very depressing, but I think it's actually very empowering.
Yes.
Because especially with our current political climate and all of the problems facing the world, to know that we can take action every single day with every single meal just by eating delicious, healthy food, it's really one of the single most effective things we can do, not just to help animals, but to help the environment, to help people, communities around the world, and to help our own health. So it's
awesome.
Whether that's one day a week, whether it's every day for lunch, or whether people want to do a vegan challenge and do it for 3 weeks, we also like to promote incremental change because sometimes people get overwhelmed. They think, oh, I can't be perfectly vegetarian or vegan. I'm not even going to try.
And they don't even know how in the beginning. I know I didn't.
Exactly. It's definitely a process.
What we always do is we just get people drinking purified water, chewing their food until liquefied. We get them to clean out their guts, stop putting liquids with their heavy meals, and they start feeling better. We get them on our product line, clean out their gut, get them on our greens. And then 2, 3, 4 months down the road, then we challenge you to do a 30-day plant-based challenge. That's it. And then you go back, and on the 31st day, we want you to eat a big pile of meat. We want you to have a bunch of ice cream and bonbons, do all that stuff, and have a big pile of pasta. And then call me the next day and tell me how you feel. You'll see. It won't be me telling you. You'll see how the mucus starts forming in your ears, and you get all plugged up. You won't believe how bad you feel once you get off that stuff, and then you go back on it. It's unbelievable. And for those of you out there that are depressed, have depression, it's the #1 selling pharmaceutical drug today. Getting off of meat's going to lift you up. You're going to stop taking in those hormones that are inherent from that meat. It is very depressing because those animals are slaughtered in horrible conditions. They know they're going to die, and those hormones and the anxiety in that animal gets transferred in you when you eat it. So it's not a good thing. So how do people get in touch with Factory Farming Awareness Coalition? How can they be a part of it? How can they start doing something in their area? Maybe being a speaker.
Yes.
And making change and inviting people over, and you have all these great talks that you can plug them into, right?
Yes, definitely. So we have 8 chapters around the country, and we have directors who will come and give free presentations to your school, community group, business, faith community, and we have different versions geared towards different audiences. So we can talk about the environment, public health, social justice, and if you live in a place where we don't have a director but you'd like to host a talk, we provide the slides and script for free for anyone who wants to use them. So you can check out our website at www.ffacoalition.org to see all of those resources. Get in touch with us and we'll send you the presentation slides and script, and we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FFA Coalition.
Awesome. So check them out at www.ffacoalition.org and plug yourself in. This is a great organization started by Katie. You got to give her props for that, because I love that you had something, you believed in it, you got passionate about it, and now your passion has become how you get to make a living.
I feel very honored. It's really
it's a blessing, isn't it?
It's
like you get to do this. Does this like work for you right now?
No.
No, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm loving talking about this. I get to learn stuff from people like her every day when I interview people. I learn stuff from my clients.
Yeah.
People have issues. It's just you get to figure it out, and then you can help the next person with what you figured out.
Exactly.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for being here today, and guys. Really plug into this group, especially if you love animals like I do. And as always, you guys deserve to have amazing health. Why wait any longer? Get over here and join us. Join the chemical-free movement today. Check us out at chemicalfreebody.com. Check out our amazing products. Help transform your health. And as we transform our health, we will be able to, the people around us will see those changes in us. They're going to want a piece of that. And then that's how our community is going to change. And one by one, we can do this. All right, guys, we'll see you again real soon. Bye for now.